When Arnold Schwarzenegger walked onto the set of Good Morning America in 2025, nobody expected the morning interview to explode into one of the most controversial live segments in television history. It was supposed to be a friendly conversation about his return to film and his recent environmental initiatives. Instead, what unfolded was a clash of ideology, ego, and legacy, leaving America stunned and forcing the producers to cut to commercial mid-broadcast. It all began with that trademark GMA smile. George Stephanopoulos welcomed Arnold like an old friend. "It's good to see you again, Governor," he said, reaching out for a handshake. Arnold smiled politely, but something about his expression said this was not going to be just another press stop. They began by discussing Arnold's new documentary, The Last Breath, focused on climate change, and his return to the big screen in Iron Law, a political action thriller with a pointed message. But within minutes, the tone shifted. George, known for his sharp questions masked in velvet, leaned in. "There are those who say you've become more of an activist than an actor," George said, eyes narrowed. "Do you think your current work is driven by politics more than passion?" Arnold, never one to back down, raised an eyebrow. "When I see the world burning, when I see injustice and ignorance, I don't care what they call me, I act. That's what I've always done." It was a strong response, but George wasn't finished. "Well, your critics argue that you've spent more time lecturing the public than making films. Some even say your stance on fossil fuels and your push for green policy is hypocritical, considering your history with gas-guzzling Hummers and luxury homes. How do you respond to that?" The tension in the room shifted palpably. Even the crew members behind the cameras seemed to pause. Arnold leaned forward. "Hypocrisy is not changing. Hypocrisy is pretending you care when you don't. I've changed, I've learned, and now I'm using my voice for something bigger than a movie or a paycheck." George pressed harder. "But don't you think some people see this as convenient? A former Republican governor now preaching climate action in Hollywood?" Arnold's voice dropped, the Austrian accent sharpening with each word. "Let me tell you something, George. People like you love to point fingers instead of fixing problems. You sit here with your nice tie and studio lights, asking questions while the world drowns." The studio went silent. The producers in the control booth were already whispering frantically into headsets. George's tone cooled, but his words were sharp. "Arnold, this isn't a lecture hall. It's a news show. Let's keep this grounded." But Arnold cut him off. "Grounded? You want grounded? The ground is cracking beneath us. Your network is more concerned about ad revenue than saving the planet. You invite me here for PR, but I came to speak truth." George attempted to regain control. "Arnold, if you can't keep this respectful, we'll have to end the segment." Arnold stood up. "Then end it, because I won't be part of your circus. If telling the truth makes you uncomfortable, maybe it's not me who doesn't belong here." The camera caught the moment, Arnold pulling off his mic, the wide-eyed reaction from George, and the stunned faces of the crew. Producers rushed in, but Arnold had already turned and walked off. The segment cut abruptly to a commercial for allergy medication. Social media exploded within minutes. #Arnold vs. George was trending across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Some hailed Arnold as a truth teller, a lion in a room of sheep. Others said he'd crossed the line, turning an interview into a self-righteous rant. The press went wild. Headlines screaming variations of "Arnold walks out of GMA and live TV meltdown or media wake-up call." But what happened after the cameras stopped trolling was perhaps even more surprising. Sources inside the studio revealed that after the segment, George sat in silence for several minutes. One producer said he looked more shaken than angry. He kept repeating, he didn't lie, he didn't lie." According to another crew member, some junior staff members applauded Arnold quietly when he walked past them on his way out. The public reaction was equally divided. Hollywood stars like Mark Ruffalo and Charlize Theron took to Twitter to support Arnold. "It's about time someone said it on national TV," Ruffalo wrote. Meanwhile, conservative commentators blasted the incident, calling Arnold unhinged and accusing him of bullying a journalist. Even President Carter Ross was asked about the incident during a press briefing. Her response: "We need passion, we need truth, and sometimes, we need people to get uncomfortable." The next day, Arnold released his short video on his social channels. No edits, no music, just him in a dimly lit room. I don't regret walking out. I regret that it took this long for me to say what needed to be said. We are running out of time. I didn't come to GMA for a friendly chat, I came to shake the table. And if that means some people feel uneasy, good, because comfort is killing us. The video reached 18 million views in 2 days. George Stephanopoulos, for his part, did not issue a statement. But on the next episode of GMA, he made a subtle reference to the incident, opening the show by saying, "We don't always agree with our guests, but we listen, we question, and sometimes, we learn." Behind the cameras, GMA executives reportedly discussed tightening interview formats with high-profile guests, and additional measures were introduced to manage potential volatility during live segments. But something had shifted. It wasn't just a celebrity clash. It wasn't just an angry walkout. It was a momenta unfiltered, raw, and unforgettably that challenged the